Okay, Buatan Berhad first. We'll do Buatan Senang Berhad because of one issue. This area might be repeating. Okay, this area, this scope of this question. Are you clear now? Be careful. The examiner may not tell you straightforward like this. Are you clear now? The examiner may not tell you straightforward, explain the requisite of this one. She'll just expect you to know which one to talk about. Okay? So, explain the requisite conditions for allowance for increased export that are satisfied by Buatan Berhad. Clearly identify the first year of assessment in which you will qualify for the allowance. So here we are looking at increased allowance incentive. Does that make sense or not? So this is an incentive that you should know how to handle. Okay. The next one that you have there is going to be explain with reference to computations. Okay, to a computation of Buatan Senang Berhad chargeable income for the year of assessment 2010. The computation, absorption of exemption mechanism for allowance of increased export. The computation, absorption and exemption mechanism. The tax saving in the year of assessment 2010 and future potential tax saving arising from the allowance. Tax treatment of unabsorbed losses brought forward in the current year. Tax treatment of approved cash donation. Well, this one you can kind of ignore. Does that make sense? This one is ignore. Yeah, no more there. Okay, so you can ignore that aspect of it. Are you clear now? Follow, don't follow? Okay. So far, okay? Now, don't forget, SME got special threshold. What is the SME threshold? Make a note of that. SME threshold. What is SME threshold? Yeah, 20 and 40 versus the 30 and you do need to remember this. This is quite important. So your examiner might create a question where it's going to be that in between here. What's the benefit of maybe keeping your capital below the 5 million limit? I can now. So if you have a limit for your SME, you want to see whether the capital structure is being influenced to crossover. Does that make sense? So from a tax planning point of view, you might look at it from the benefit here. Okay, the company could be at 35, 38 or 39, how could you move it to 40%? And make sure your capital structure is correct to get the benefit at 40%. Does that make sense? Now, which means the examiner can ask you about possible capital reduction. How to do capital reduction? Is it possible to do this? How can you get a capital reduction done so that you can fall into the SME category? Are you clear now? Make sense? You might have, let's say, 3 million cash shares. Then you got a problem, yes or not? Okay. So let's look at this one first. This question. The question itself is very short and straightforward. Okay. The question is very short. No, this is the olden day questions. Okay. Total marks here is 36 marks only. Okay. Buatan Senang Berhad, a company resident in Malaysia, with a paid-up capital of 5 million. Okay, has established itself as a manufacturer of quality furniture in Malaysia. In 2009, Buatan started to export to Europe. Okay. Buatan has not been granted any tax incentive for the year. The financial controller Buatan now seeks tax advice from Excellent Tax Service regarding tax incentive available for export of manufactured products. In 2010, the Buatan acquired, this one you have to make a note here. Okay. Buatan acquired a retail food business which incurred an adjusted loss of 15,000 for the year. During preliminary meeting with financial controller a few days ago, the tax principal of Excellent Service gathered the following information regarding the business. So, 2009 domestic revenue, sales revenue, export free on-board sales revenue. This has kind of gone up. Okay. Then you got gross Malaysian dividend, franc. So you can kind of ignore this one. So I can try to throw this out of the picture. Okay. Let's throw that out of the picture for now. Follow? Okay. Next, interest income is 20. Then you got statutory income from manufacturing business is 70, cash donation to approved institutions 80, unabsorbed manufacturing loss brought forward is 10. The financial controller has also confirmed that since 2009, Buatan has since consistently attained more than 50% value add. Well, that's a big number. And value add in respect of furniture output. As such, Buatan is eligible for allowance of expat at a rate of 15%. Well, the examiner has kind of given you the numbers here already, yes or not? Clear? Not clear? Okay. So follow at the 50% ratio. Got it? Okay. Now that you know that one, let's look at what are you supposed to say for this one. Let's do Buatan first. And how likely is Buatan? Buatan is one of those spotted areas for this semester. I repeat, not the question specifically, but the incentive that we are doing right now. Understand which incentive we are doing right now? We're talking about the export incentives. Export incentives are due this semester. Clear, not clear? Okay. So, you are asked to write a letter, yes or no? Okay, so the letter would start with excellent tax services, yes or no? And I'm going to make sure that one comes up properly. So put that excellent, can see here, okay? Excellent tax services. And you're going to put the address here. System is not moving properly. Okay, right. It should be moving now. Okay, what do you have there? You got something there, and then you have to put the date. What's the date today? 20th of May. And you're going to put financial controller. Huh? Recipient address will be you're going to get marks for this, about 2-3 marks just for that. Are you clear now? Follow? Okay. Income tax issues for 2010 and allowance for export. Okay. When did we have the meeting? Well, it's a few days ago. Tax issues. Okay, done. That should get you your basic 1-2 marks. Then you start moving into the answering strategy. Are you clear now? eligibility for, the question asks you eligibility for the allowance for increased export, yes or no? Do you still remember the conditions? Okay. Buatan will qualify for this incentive because what will you say? It is a resident company in Malaysia. That's the basic one. Okay, are you done? Part B, we're going to talk about chargeable income. First part, you need to talk about how much is the allowance, yes or no? Okay, can you tell me how much is the allowance for the year? How much is the absorption for the year? Can you calculate how much is it? How much is it? 67,000? Done. Can I move on? How to absorb? $18,500, right? So it's set off against the furniture business again. This is called ring fencing. Remember the ring fencing idea? I got talk about ring fence before, right? All these incentive times tend to ring fence where they can be applied against. Clear? They don't apply to all business income. Got it? Are you clear now? Follow? So the exemption, how is the exemption? Well, what tax rate will be applied for this company? Flat rate how much? 24%. Huh? So how much is the tax saving for 2010? You know or don't know? So 11,600, huh? You know how to get 11,760, right? Yes, no? 49,000 you saved, right? You put into an exam account, right? That 49,000 will be saving at 24%. Whatever is not going to be taxed is going to be saving you money. What? Got the idea? Clear? Can? Clear? How to treat the unabsorbed losses in current year business loss? This one you better do the calculations first. Can you do the calculation? Can you calculate the tax computation? You know how to do tax comp, right? Just do one now. You still remember how to do a tax comp? You are doing tax planning, you know. Can you do the tax computation quickly? Calculate tax comp. Do a nice statement for the the partner to see. Start with what? I'm going to go down here. I'm going to call it appendix. Can you start your appendix and tell me how much is the chargeable income? Correct? How much? Clear? You got how much here? 21,000 right now. Then you have to absorb business loss, correct? This one is going to be how much? Current losses 15,000, yes or no? You know where to get the 15,000? Aggregate. Can, huh? Can. How much is the approved donations? How much is the approved donations? Burn how much? Brent? 12,000? Yes, no? Remember that one? You remember that idea? Yes, no? Dividend income is always, Malaysian dividend are always exempt because they already tax at source, yes or no? How much paid? How much? 3096. Next year is going to get harder to calculate. Not next year, don't worry. After September. After September, it's going to be a bit more harder to calculate. The tier, you know, right? The tier got tax reduction. You know or don't know? No, it's inside your notes. Remember, if you save money, you get the amount of tax increase in profit will reduce your profit, your rate. That's next year. You know what I'm talking about? You're already doing it, right, for this year? It's inside your notes. It's the special rates for those above the SME limit. That means they're no longer taxed at 24% already. They have a efficiency ratio. If you earn more profit, you get better tax rate. You have an increase in profit. Clear? That one definitely tested next semester only, not this semester. September, no check. Okay, huh? Okay, are we okay here? Can, huh? Okay, but you're not finished, huh? So unabsorbed losses, what's going to happen here? This is where you have to explain what happened, the calculation. So what he did was a calculation, I just have to explain it. Here's a big question. You know that they actually used the set off, right? But then they reduced their aggregate income, right? Yes, no? They reduce your aggregate income, then your donation limit goes down, right? So you need to sometimes think about that. This question doesn't need you to go into that discussion, but you just have to see that, okay, was it worthwhile to, you see this one, no problem. You use it here, it doesn't affect your donation limit. But you use it here, it affects your donation limit. Are you aware of this one? If you use it here, it affects your donation limit. If you use it down here, it doesn't affect your donation limit. So this one could have been carried forward. Richard, no, you can carry forward, right? Okay, does that make sense? Only in Pioneer you have to be careful. Pioneer status only you have to be careful. That one got ring fencing of losses and all that.
Because Pioneer losses can be self against the exempt income.
Yeah. You cannot go into, you cannot use it for other business. You can only use it for that source.
Otherwise, Pioneer losses cannot be settled against this kind of situation.
Yes. So you need to remember that. There are certain cases where the losses are kind of like limited because of its nature of the loss, due to the allowance that's being taken. Are you clear now? The benefit.
So speaking of losses and all, what's the probability of a student mistakenly carrying forward losses when it comes to non-business source income?
High. It's a normal exam trap. They will put that in. Clear? Remember, non-business source, you're not allowed to carry forward losses. Yes or no?
In other words, you see a mistake is that they could just add the statutory income of all sources and then set off from the loss.
Yeah, they will accidentally use the loss there. I cannot. You got to be very careful with that type of situation. Okay, okay, right. So that one we covered here. Okay, wait, let's finish up this question. So that's this idea here. I'm not going to go into that discussion, just telling you about it, okay? Just telling you that you can have used, talked about it. What's the next one? The next question is, well, this is quite straightforward. You just have to say what? $76,000. Was it 76,900, right? 76, right? 76,900 was? be yours faithfully. Done. Clear? Any questions there? Don't forget the enhanced export allowance. Remember that one? Clear or not clear? So this one I kind of adapted it to later situations and probably discuss what's more relevant. There was one I did last time, I think, so there was one of the old ones, right? Was this done before? Have you seen this before? You've seen it before, right? Once long time ago, right? But that one was done on paper, right? Version 1. This is version 7.
So the donation for personal got any restrictions?
Got limit.